Good evening. My name is Plague Lord Ardoff, and this is the second video in my, well, I don't want to call it a series because hopefully it comes to an end fairly soon. But this is my second video expressing my thoughts and feelings on the recent tragedies we've been experiencing. And it's also living up to a promise and an expectation that I put on the world at large to stop burying our heads in the sand. There are at least 2 videos of horrible tragedies that have befallen our great nation and the world at large, actually. Even Arenya's tragedy was inflicted on the world because the world at large is under attack. It's a concerted attack. It's been subtle, but it's something we need to address. And what I wanted to do after Arenya, I wanted to watch the video. And at the time, I encouraged others to do the same. I haven't yet. I haven't found the time, and I wanted to make sure my head was in the right place, that I was ready to bear the experience. But especially after Charlie was assassinated, that really solidified the idea. And there are a lot of people saying that it was devastating, it was terrible, it was the most horrendous thing they've seen. And that's all valid. That's entirely valid. But, and I don't encourage people who don't think that they would be able to handle it, that it would affect them too harshly for their spiritual or mental health. But to everyone else, everyone who has courage and determination that they want to express, I have encouraged them to watch these videos, because I believe that the pain we will feel from seeing them is nothing compared to what they felt. And I believe that if we see, then we can take a little bit of that pain. And I think we've spent too long avoiding it. I think these evils are things we need to look in the eye. We can't hide from it. We can't talk ourselves out of it. We need to see what's happening, because only then will we be able to approach it properly, with the proper context, with the proper understanding of what it is. So that's what I'm going to do today. I won't show it here, because again, I'm not going to force that on anyone. But I will be, by the end of this video, I will have seen both. I have short slide, I call them slides. I really built entire OBS functions to show these off, that I realized today I really should have just made a PowerPoint. Would have been a lot easier. I spent an entire evening trying to get words to show up where I wanted them. But I've got, I'll show you when I get there. I will pause the recording and turn it back on between each video. The recordings are long. I know at least one of them is a 6-minute video, so there will be breaks. I don't know how to make the transitions not mildly jarring, so I will ask you to bear with me as we move forward. The first one coming up will just be a short overview of the other things that have happened that I believe have led to this environment and this climate. So we'll be right back in just a moment, and we'll get to it. All right. So this first section, it's just in memoriam. Apparently, there's a bit of a debate about how that word is spelled and used. But these are images dating back to the murder of Brian Thompson at the hands of Luigi Maganonghi. Don't care to pronounce his name right. That instance really was where my turn happened. It started there because when I saw how people reacted to the event and how Luigi was praised for what he did, I realized something had gone wrong. Something had gone very wrong. And I actually spoke to a friend about it who was no longer a friend. And I warned him that things are getting bad. People are being dehumanized. We're celebrating a murder. How could we do that? And at the time, he was sympathetic to the idea. That friend recently celebrated Charlie's death. Yeah. So no longer my friend. But we saw that, and we need to remember, I feel like that was where a lot of our eyes should have been opened. After that, things went quiet for a little bit. And then Austin Metcalf was stabbed in the heart for no reason. People have made up reasons, but there was no reason. There was no reason for that young man to die in his brother's arms. Some people say there was an argument. Some say it was racist comments, that Carmelo was defending himself. Recently, I even saw that apparently Carmelo might have been going through people's bags. I really don't know, and I don't think that anyone aside from the people who were there at the time will be allowed to know the truth. I think the media, the mainstream media, and even the independent media, just because information is so hard to come by, I don't think we're going to know what happened with 100% certainty. But we do know that Austin did not deserve to die. These are terrible things happening. After that, unless I am mistaken in my timeline, which is entirely possible, I'm not great at keeping track of necessarily when things happen, but I believe after that we had the church shooting, in which we lost Fletcher Alexander Merkel and Harper Lillian Moisky. These two children, obviously, there is no reason for them to have died. They were shot to death by a coward, a trans person, and for no reason. They were just angry. No wrong had been done to them. And for that, they decided murder, indiscriminate, untargeted, unless one counts the fact that the church was one where his mother worked and that he had attended. But none of the people, none of those children were there when he was. He couldn't have had a personal grudge against any of them. And if he did, he was a coward anyway. So he stood outside after barring the doors to keep them in and just started shooting. There were many heroes inside that church. I don't want them to be forgotten either. Stories of a 12-year-old boy jumping on top of one of his friends to protect him. There were some damn heroes in that church, and there was a damn coward outside of it. Carmelo Anthony, Luigi Maganoni, Robert, whatever the hell his name was. People defended all of these people. It really shouldn't have taken that long for people to realize something had gone wrong in our society. But they didn't. They rationalized and they deflected. We really should have known. We should have done something. And then Irenya. And people still defend that one. Clear video footage of exactly what happened. And people defend him. DeCarlos Brown Jr. A monster. No other way about it. And in saying that there is video footage, I am going to pause this recording now and do what I came here to do. When I return, I will give my thoughts on the exact images that will be shown. Obviously, my thoughts are that it was a monster that needs to be strung up from a tree. But there might be other things that I can say after seeing it. If I can. No, I will. I'll be back. One moment, please. I had to find a second video. The one I had bookmarked had been taken down by the time I got back. So quick. He unfolds the knife, lets it rest in his lap for a moment as he looks out the window, and then you can see the moment he decided. You can see the moment he decided. The video I did find mildly blurred the moments of impact, but nothing was hidden. Erin, you looked shocked at first. She looked shocked that someone had just punched her a couple times in the neck and the face. And then you can see the moment she realized what had happened. Or maybe she didn't. Maybe, hopefully, there wasn't much pain. She was alive for a little bit. Sometimes I'm not at a loss for words. And it's not even that I don't want to say what I'm thinking. That man does deserve to be hung from a tree. But in my opinion, there's a special place reserved in hell for the 3 people that sat by and did nothing. And I don't even mean to say that they didn't stop DeCarlos, that they didn't stop the attack, that they didn't stop him after he attacked her. Hell, some of them are just talking to him as he walks by. No, I mean they didn't help at any point. Not when she slumped over and fell on the ground. They stood there, or sat there, and just looked at her. Someone that murders someone else is repugnant. Someone without enough human sympathy to even comfort the dying. They're just as soulless. I won't say they deserve the death penalty as well, but they should be shunned from all human society for their inaction. DeCarlos shouldn't have left that train alive. Eventually, a good man does show up. And let me rewind. There was a common factor between DeCarlos and the people who did nothing. I'll leave it to your imagination what the similarity was. But a young man did eventually step up and do what he could to help Irenia. And to his credit, that man did not have a similarity to me, a rather distinct one. Which is why I will stand firm that they're good people from any background. And there are evil people. And there is evil that is reinforced, nurtured, and encouraged in our society. But no, eventually, a good man did step up and do what he could. It was far too late. Not to bash his efforts, just to comment on how quickly it was going to be over. Eventually, more people did step up to help. Never the ones that were sitting there and watching, though, unless I'm mistaken. No, they got the hell out of the way. It was people from other areas of the train line, the light rail line. There were at least 3 of them who either sat there and watched. That's the most disgusting thing. Eventually, human souls did get involved. I stand by what I said still. Those who are of strong enough spirit should watch that. They should see what humanity is capable of and incapable of. I can't put into words. I can't right now. Not off the cuff. I don't script this. I will eventually in the future when I get better at the idea of video production. I cannot put into words the contempt I have for people who would sit by. I really can't. Not jumping in to stop it, sure. You're not required to put your life on the line for someone else. Not attacking DeCarlos again. You're not required to put your life on the line to avenge someone else. But when all that was over, and a young woman was lying on the floor of a train, wondering if anyone would help her, and the people sitting 4 feet away from her did nothing but watch and point. A special place in hell. Before I move on to Charlie's video, there was supposed to be a slide at the end of this recounting the criminals, and where rest in peace was, there was burn in hell. And I debated whether or not I wanted to include that slide, just on the idea that we shouldn't give people like that airtime or publicity. I don't agree with that necessarily. While I understand and respect the spirit behind the idea that they shouldn't be made into figures. As I said, I believe it's important to know the face of evil. But I am going to cut it out. I didn't gather enough information before I needed to make this. I set myself an inadvertent timeline or a deadline, and I would not be able to prepare enough information and clear enough explanation of where they are now. That was the idea of it, where they are now. I do want to take a moment to explain and diffuse a rumor about DeCarlos. Recently has gotten around that he was released. That he was released to a mental care facility. Some people said released to the streets. That was very, very wrong. And some people implied he was released to a medical facility where he would, presumably by their reporting, get the care he needed and then be released. This is untrue. I dug in, I found the court documents that were written. DeCarlos has been ordered to attend a mental health facility for no more than 60 days before his hearing, the purpose of which is to determine his the soundness of his mind to stand trial. And I understand that some people may come to the conclusion that this is a matter of trying to get him off the hook, trying to give him the insanity plea that has been whispered about. And that's valid. That's entirely valid to assume with the current state of affairs. So I dug in a little bit. I found the name of the judge who signed that order, and I attempted to find the facility that he would be attending. I was not able to find the facility. Where I would have looked for the frequency of its releases to see if there was any pattern to its findings. I wasn't able to find that. I was able to find the judge and his X account. And I looked into that. I checked who he followed and what he posted. My research indicated that he has not been active on X since 2012. This was the time when he was campaigning for his current position as a judge. Obviously, things can change over 13 years, but the people and institutions that he followed and was supported by was either entirely neutral businesses, car dealerships, restaurants, and the like, who I assume contributed to his campaign, but also a fair number of churches and religious groups. Catholics stood out in a couple of cases. And so I don't feel like the judge's intentions were to give him an out. In fact, from what I read and the vibe I got from his followings, so long as he hasn't changed drastically in the last 13 years, what I believe is going on is he's sent to that facility for an evaluation, not to give him an out with the insanity plea, but to head it off. I would assume, because I'm not overly familiar with how court proceedings go, how the legal system is conducted, the time frame of things happen, but the insanity plea was being discussed. It was whispered about already. And I believe that without the judge doing this, without him ordering the preemptive mental evaluation, that at the very least, DeCarlos' defense would have tried to delay the proceedings. They would have brought him in and said, no, my client is insane. He'll need to get evaluated before we can go on, that sort of thing. So, and even if it didn't work, it would give them more time to find more things, more time to drum up political support, more time to drum up, all the normal ways they force the courts to bow to their whims. So I really do think that the judge is attempting to head that off to get a quote-unquote clean bill of health in the defense's hands, so they cannot play the insanity plea. And they cannot delay the proceedings by saying they need to find one or not. So I've seen some prominent people talking about that. And while I don't condemn them at all, but we do need to make sure that the news we're reporting, as if I'm some sort of reporter, the news that we're reporting is accurate. When I can find a document that disproves he's been let out on the streets, it's an unfortunate day that other people reported otherwise. Again, I don't blame them. The state America is in, it's not even just believable, but almost expected at this point. So when someone tells people that It really is. Well, that makes sense. It shouldn't, but it's the world we live in. And this video is getting very long. I'm not going to edit it down because the point of it almost isn't to be watched. It's, like I said in the first one, it's really almost more of a journal for me. Something for me to be able to say I did what I said I would do and so on. So I will end Miss Irenia Zarutska's portion of this segment. I wish for her to rest in peace. I wish for Brian Thompson, Austin Metcalf, Fletcher Alexander Merkel, Harper Lillian Moisky, all to rest in peace and know that their names are not going to be forgotten. And those who sinned upon them will not be forgiven. And then with that, I am going to move on to Charlie's video. I say Charlie's video. The video in which Charlie is assassinated. I'll be right back. It is really hard to talk after seeing something like that. And I don't want to say I would have liked a longer video, but the one that was sent to me was only the 4 seconds of the exact moment. I had wanted to see the aftermath, see what happened in the immediate afterwards, but 4 seconds was enough. I won't even describe it. I won't describe it, but I don't think I'll forget it either. I hope we all know that Charlie Kirk was an amazing man. For the longest time, I tried to be a middleman, but that ended eventually for a while back. And I rather got into the idea that there really was just no way to make the other side see sense. There was really just no approaching it. And then I started seeing a lot of Charlie's videos. And I realized that maybe I personally might not have had what it took to do that, but I saw that it was possible to be the kind of person Charlie was, because if I had not known him, if I had not seen what he did, I almost wouldn't have believed it. I was mistaken on a YouTube comment I made a little while back. There's the video going around that, if anyone who cares has been paying attention, I'm sure they've seen. There's a morning talk show of some variety that Charlie was on, and there's a little backstage footage of, I believe his wife is there, but I know it's his daughter, who is being let in. And She sees him on the other end of the set, and she cries out, "Daddy!" and runs across the set and jumps in his lap. Everybody's happy. It's a beautiful thing. Beautiful little 3-year-old girl in her little dress. Just happy to see her dad. That's the best thing any of us can ever hope for. The comment I made, I said something along the lines of, and because of some psychotic monster, she'll never get the chance to do that again. But I was wrong. Because on September 10th, there was a little girl in a crowd of people. We're all having a great time. And then that little girl hears a really loud bang, and everyone around her starts screaming and running. She's terrified, and she tries to run towards her daddy, because that's the man who protects her. That was the last time she got to run towards her dad. Scared. Go, Dad, for safety. Because that's what men do, and that's what men are for. And Charlie was a man. He was the best man. He was the best person any of us could dream to be. Your 3-year-old girl knew that. His wife knew that. His son will know that. I apologize. Yeah. Some terrible things have happened. But some great things are going to happen. Some great things are going to happen because the message Charlie Kirk put out into the world was one that every single person on this planet is capable. It's not some high ideal. It's not some unattainable goal. It's not go out and make yourself a millionaire. It's not go out and create the best art you can. It's not go out and change nations. It was to be the best person you could be. And the rest would follow. But he said it in a way everyone could understand and could take to heart. He put that message out there because he believed in something. He believed in our nation. He believed in kindness. He believed in God. And he believed in America. And that is why I hung my first flag the other day. And that is why, from this day forward, I am committed to that. I'm committed to one of the ideas he held. We're going to do it for you, Charlie, because of everything you did for us. God bless and Godspeed.